Oh, that's cool. Okay, chat. Oh, great. So we have a couple minutes before we get started. Are there any comments, questions, requests from anybody about any of the things that we've been covering? How have you been? Just anything that you would like to talk to me about before the show starts officially. Orion.
You- There we go. Um, Question. What is it? I seem to be annoyed by everything.
Okay. And your question is
What is this? Is annoyance fear?
annoyance is aversion, and you never have an aversion for things that you welcome. So it would be reasonable to, and I understand that there is some inexactitude in this. It would be reasonable to consider it one of the things that fear adjacent in the sense that it is, if we're looking at pain and pleasure, fear and love, not because they are exact terms, but because it allows us to make decisions and actions rapidly. Yes, it's fear. It's fear of being interrupted, fear that this is going to lead to something that is unpleasant. If it was an interruption with something pleasant, like a cat that had been lost for a week scratching at your door, that's not irritation, that's joy. Okay. So, yeah, I would say it's a form of fear.
Okay.
And therefore, stress. And therefore, the same tools that you use to deal with stress, you can use here. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent.
That'll take care of it.
Yeah, just breathe and just
Yeah.
find joy. Quite often interruptions are from things that you care about. People that it can be annoying, but if you are the person that they're coming to because they rely upon you, there can be joy and pride in that. It's like if my family, my cats, a business call interrupts me while I'm in flow, I can find a way to feel grateful. My son is alive. My wife loves me and needs to talk to me. My kitties are healthy kitties that need to be fed. Isn't that wonderful? If they weren't eating, I'd be, I'd be bereft. I'd take them to the vet. Say, my cat isn't eating. So if he rubs against my leg and wants food, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to find a way to enjoy it. Okay. If it's like either get out of it or get into it. It's like, there are any number of things that I will not. Oh, it's time for us to get going. So it is now 12 and it's time for Fire Dance. This is your host, Stephen Barnes. My good lady wife, Tananarive, is in the air right now, flying to Atlanta. So she's going to Miami to spend a weekend with her sisters. And I think that that is absolutely wonderful. So she will not be joining us today. But if there are any questions for her, I will try to put on my Tananarive wig and mask and answer the way I think that she would have answered it. But welcome here. Fire Dance is a very specific technology. It's the technology of creating your first hour of the day. It's the technology of moving while you're chanting affirmations and visualizing role models and flooding yourself with positive emotions. It's that thing of getting the first hour of the day going. So before I get into anything, what I really, really like to do, very like to see that wig and mask, very Tom Cruise. That's right. Yeah. If I decide to accept this mission, everybody unmute and say hello to the group.
Hi. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Hello,
Good to
Good
see
now
you
this is
today.
afternoon.
there you go. This is the
Hello.
positive corner of the internet. This is the place where we can go and talk about our feelings, and we will not be mocked for being optimistic. We will find people who support us and are willing to network with us. We can create a mastermind to solve problems. We do that every week in our chat. I can provide a context with technologies that I have developed or learned over many decades and taught to thousands of students, but it's you guys bringing your concerns here and working with each other. I cannot do this by myself, but what I can do, like I said, is set context, and we can talk about various principles. What is this about? Well, I can I can tell you that from the position of Firedance or life writing, which was the technology that Firedance is a part of, life writing is the application of Joseph Campbell's model of the hero's journey to planning out our lives themselves. And from the position that we're looking at here, the meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. When I say escape suffering, I don't mean that there's never any pain in life. Pain is, inevitable. But suffering is holding on to past pain or paying a debt on future pain that hasn't arrived yet. You see a lot of people suffering because they're worried about 2025. And the thing that gets you out of suffering is gratitude and staying in the moment. The thing that solves problems is taking action that is developmental or palliative or curing and getting so deeply into the action that you go into flow state. Flow state means you're in this moment. In this moment, there is no suffering. There might be pain, but there is no suffering. So you can almost measure the degree to which you are not taking effective action by the degree of suffering that you are experiencing. And you know the direction to go in. It's like, this is what the problem is. I have to solve it. And what is my goal? My goal is to is to escape suffering, increase joy, be of service. The second thing, once you're starting to move away from suffering, the question of joy is different from the question of pleasure. Again, pleasure is in the moment. You experience it. I eat a piece of sushi or whatever. It is dependent upon the outside world. Joy comes from within. Joy could be thinking of past positive things, the things that you're gratitude for. The opposite of suffering then is joy. To be able to, I could go back to something that happened in first grade when I forgot the lines in my Christmas play in first grade and be miserable about it. I could still remember the embarrassment. I really can. Or I could remember my first kiss. That all those old memories are still inside us. This is one of the reasons why, you know, writing is so important. People read something on paper, that it triggers a memory, they have a feeling. And writing is about understanding the kinds of memories and thoughts that you're going to trigger with different words, phrases, scenes, and so forth, so that you can guide their emotions in a way that you want. On an individual basis, we use the morning ritual where you are deliberately you're moving at the same time that you're saying affirmations, at the same time that, well, for me, at the same time that I'm thinking about the people and the things in my life for which I am grateful. I visualize my role models, the people who could easily solve any problems that I have in my life at the moment, and I flood myself with that, and I don't leave my bedroom in the morning until I have done that. uh, it is true. If you take a look at the chakras that are sitting there behind me, the chakras are a model of the different levels of human behavior. It's comparable to Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. I'm not saying that if you cut somebody open, you find a chakra inside them. No, these are metaphors. But it goes from the bottom to the top. It goes from core survival to, personal survival, to genetic survival, to tribal survival. Okay, that's the belly brain. Okay, It's the land of instinct, the warrior attitudes, the survival drives. The next couple of the heart space, okay? It's, love and fear, which fight for space in your heart. It's also communication, okay? Our ability to take in, to give out, especially communicating what we feel. Then you have intellect and you have spirit. You're moving into the realm of the head and your map of reality, the things that you've learned. And ultimately, if you have awakened these steps in order, you begin to ask questions about who are you? What is true? What is my place in the world? When you escape suffering and embrace joy, eventually you want to be of service. You want to be of service to your family, your loved ones, your community, your tribe, hopefully the entire world. You can, selfishness per se is not the problem. The problem is a limited definition of self, that you feel like your self stops at your skin, or your tribe is defined by race or nationality or gender or whatever. The expansion of that is one of the results of personal growth. So, this is a path that says that dealing with the mundane is also dealing with the sacred. The sacred is rooted in the mundane. The emotional is rooted in the mundane. So we have to take care of ourselves, basically. This path is also for people who are interested in being leaders. And in that sense, it's, leading your family. They're people who rely upon you. Uh, I'm sure that every day you hear people who are scared about 2025. What can we do to help the people around us who are concerned that the world is spinning out of control? Well, the truth is that the world has always been spinning out of control. That there has not been a year of my life that somebody has not talked about how the world is coming to an end, or America is coming to an end, or we're all heading downhill. That is just what people do. And sometimes they have more reason for it than others, absolutely. But the people who can get through these times are the people who can keep their eyes on the ball, who can keep hoping, who can keep having faith. And the people around us who are scared are looking, is there anybody who is healthy and happy and successful, but still cares about me, still cares about the people around them? Look at the feeling that you see on social media that the wealthy are evil. Well, what is the line of wealth here? Is it making $100,000 a year? Is it making $1 million a year? Is it a net worth of this? Is it that? It's very vague. There is no line. It's just a feeling that people have as our society does get more topsy-turvy in terms of heading towards an oligarchy. This happens if you study history, that there is this movement between the people having the power and the oligarchs having the power. And it's this cycle. If you want to protect your family, the steps that we suggest are: first, take care of yourself. That's the first step. Take care of yourself. That means your physical health and energy, your emotional health and energy, and your finances. Make no mistake, nothing works like money in the arenas in which money works. That's the adult world. And if you have, every year we do a Christmas giveaway. One of the reasons that we make money is that we know that every year we give it away. So this is why people talk about tithing, because we do have this sense of, why do I deserve to have more than I need? Well, as you become an elder of your tribe, as you become an adult within your tribe, ideally you become a resource for your tribe. That means you want to have more physical energy than you need. You want to have more emotional balance and health than you need so that other people can rely upon you. And you want to have resources. So you hear about a tornado ripping a roof off a church in Missouri, you send them a check. You can take care of this. There's nothing wrong with it, depending on what are you going to do with it. What does it mean to you? What product or service did you provide? Now, this meeting is, Tananarive and I are both writers. That's what we do. And so those of you who want to make a living in the arts, trust me, being self-employed in the arts has got to be 10 times harder than working for somebody else in a mundane business, just like working a cash register or whatever. It not only involves managing yourself, but constantly stepping into that creative space, which is the child self within us, but managing to keep connection with the adult space, which is the part of us that pays the bills. It is also involved with sales and marketing and discipline. So moving back and forth between these two personalities. I mean, these are models. Talking about how we have an internal child is not saying you cut somebody open and there's a little kid in there. Unless there is, of course. It's more saying let's look at it this way. So looking at it that way, we can look at it like there's a masculine side of us and a feminine side of us, a child part of us and an adult part of us. There are these different things, and you can ask yourself, well, is this in balance? What would happen if I had more of this? It's just a way of looking at it so that we can language it. Breaking things down into pieces is one mode of thought. The other mode of thought is looking at everything as a gestalt. It's all one thing. Okay, so that's another thing that you have to move back and forth between the ability to break things down into pieces and the ability to look at the whole thing. Tananarive and I, over the last couple of months, and in the last few days, we verified this. We have something coming up next year that, handled properly, will change our lives forever. And in the very best ways, literally everything we have been working for. We're going to have the opportunity. We're being funded to make a short film. Now, we did one 10 years ago. We're being funded to make another short film. But this one, they want us to direct it. And not only that, but if it goes well, we get to roll that into a feature. Now, getting a feature film made and sitting in an audience full of people that are, when the lights go down and my movie's on the screen is literally my last remaining goal in life. It is, it is from when I was a kid. Everything else I got, that one is, so I find it very easy to motivate myself. But see, we could look at the magic formula and ask, how did it help us get to this point? Because what the magic formula says is that if you do things in a particular way, you increase your luck in life. So the MAGIC of the magic formula is MAGIC. The first one is map or model. Map or model or mentor. You find someone who has the knowledge you don't have. You find some system that has helped other people get to where you want to go. This is critical. You don't want to be reinventing the wheel. You want, if you're going to Disneyland, you get a map. You talk to somebody else who's gone there. How did you get there? How much did it cost to go there? How long did it take to get there? You want someone who will tell you about that space. So in our lives, that was Tananarive read encyclopedically. She has a master's degree in Nigerian literature. She hangs out with writers. She took the classes. She teaches, and when you teach, you also learn. So that's map, model, mentor. She has all of that. Me, read encyclopedically, read every book I could get my hands on about writing, but I also went out and found somebody. I found multiple people who had careers ahead of my career, who knew how to do the things I did not know how to do. And I humbled myself and asked them, can you help me? And I kept asking until I found someone who would say yes. The A in the magic formula is action. What are the daily actions you have to take in order to accomplish your goal? Now, the life writing plan says you write at least a sentence a day. That's your minimum action. So we have what's called atomic goals. What is the smallest unit of action you can take that will get you where it is that you're trying to go? This is really important. And hold on for just a second. Recording in progress. For me, every day I have to do something to raise my physical energy, something to center myself emotionally for my family and myself, and something that moves my career forward. What moves my career forward is both the artistic side of things and the business side of things. It's as simple as that. That one way of looking how to improve your finances is you are constantly improving your skills. And the other thing is you're constantly improving your network, your social media network, the connections with people, you're understanding, you're researching and understanding sales and marketing. When you're constantly improving the skill of your product or service, whatever it is you're offering to the world, and you're constantly learning more about the marketplace and making connections with people, eventually those two circles overlap. And that's one of the places that luck happens. So this is the thing that I cannot reinforce enough. Constantly be improving your skills, constantly be improving your skills at marketing and communication and sales. Money will come not from being good at what you do, but how good you are at communicating your value to somebody with money, such that they believe that their money will give them more pleasure in your pocket than in theirs. Bob's your uncle. You got a sale. The G in the magic formula is gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote for fear. It is the antidote for anxiety. It is the antidote for guilt. You can't feel guilty and grateful at the same time. You can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. I was at the LostCon science fiction convention last weekend, and I have a friend there who is there, who's in constant pain. Okay, just really serious back pain, and she recently had a device implanted that in her spine that she can operate with a Bluetooth to send a little buzzing sensation along her nerves. The little buzzing sensation, so your nerves can't conduct more than one feeling at a time. So the little buzzing sensation blocks the pain. You can do the same thing with your fear, your doubt, your anxiety. By focusing every day on what you're grateful for, you are sending that along your nervous system. You're sending that into your mind. Yes, there will be things to be afraid of. Yes, there are problems. Absolutely. But your ability to use that great problem solving apparatus between your ears is based partially on your belief that a solution is possible. If you don't believe a solution is possible, you're not going to spend the time necessary to try to come up with an answer. You're just going to curl up in a ball. Okay. So every day, you think about the things you're grateful for. And I am grateful for having a strong, healthy body and mind, for the people who love me and trust me, for my mentors who've helped me over the years. I literally, while I'm doing Tai Chi, actually I've made a shift. This is one of the first major shifts I've made in the last couple of years to doing it during my yoga instead of during my Tai Chi. I've had some reasons for that. I'm trying it. But so far, so good. And I will, while I'm doing my poses, I will literally chant while I'm doing my poses under my breath. And on the exhalations, I'm chanting, I'm so grateful for a strong, healthy body and so forth, while I'm specifically working on developing a strong, healthy body. One of the things that happens, by the way, if you do the fire dance technique, is that the voices in your head will try to argue with you. If you say every day and every way I'm getting better and better, which is just a very common affirmation, the voice in your head will say, bullshit. No, you're not. That's nonsense. That voice is in everybody's head. But if you are doing yoga or Tai Chi, something that you want to get better at, and you have defined part of getting better at it is spending the time practicing it, then you are literally doing the thing that your mind is telling you you're not doing. And by doing that, you get clear evidence that the voices in your head are not you, and the voices in your head will lie to you. And once you understand that, you get to separate yourself from the voices, from your feelings, your emotions, your history, and you get to ask, are these things true? And who am I if I'm not If I'm not those voices, who am I? Really important question to which there are answers. MAG. The I is intention, which is the same as your goal, your outcome. What do you want? What do you want? Well, what everybody wants, what every animal wants, is to move away from pain toward pleasure. Every animal will do that. But human beings, according to the Dalai Lama, it would be more like escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service to the world. Everything that you're doing, every job that you take, everything that you eat, every step you take, everything you do consciously is some attempt to move away from pain towards pleasure. Human beings can experience joy, like I said, by remembering positive things in their past, by taking responsibility for happiness. The I there was a successful writing career. I wanted to be a published writer. Tananarive wanted to be a published writer. As soon as we got that, we began to upgrade our intentions. Okay, I want to be a best-selling writer. I want to be an award-winning writer. I want to work in Hollywood. I want to have, like I said, when I was a kid, I want a movie. I want to sit in the theater, lights go down, movies projected, audience applauds. I'm sitting there enjoying this, and when we get our movie, all of you guys are invited. We'll have a big party. All of you will be there, and popcorn is on me, people. By the way, that's kind of serious. We do private screenings, and I would love anybody who's in the LA area or can get to the LA area, the Firedance community. I'd love for you all to be there. Um, so the clarity of the intention. What is it exactly that you want to do that is in alignment with escaping suffering, embracing joy, being of service? Just look, once you accept that that's the meaning of life, you can motivate yourself to do anything that moves you along that path just by connecting there. It's like one of the highest paid coaches in the world. I was able to hire him for 2 days in order to check me out. This was, many years ago. I had the money sitting around and said, well, let me pay him these thousands of dollars to spend, 2 days with him. And he found out that anytime I thought about my daughter, my energy went up. All I have to do is think about my darling daughter, Nikki, and automatically I'm feeling, yes, great, my heart just swells, because I have a totally uncomplicated relationship with Nikki. I love her, she loves me, very simple. Just that daddy-daughter stuff. If you can find things that you have an uncomplicated, positive relationship with, and you can find ways that your goals connect with those things, then the clear intention that you set should be set up to provide value to the things you have that uncomplicated relationship with, your family, the world, God, whatever it is, yourself. Absolutely, you can do things for yourself. Be sure that your goals, you can see how your goals move you in the direction you want to go. And the last thing, the C, is core connection. There are only two questions in the arts and only two questions in philosophy. Who am I and what is true? The question of what you are at the core of your being is so essential, because if you meditate, journal, go into therapy, you're searching for that core question. Well, who am I really? Because who you are determines what it is you need to do to actualize yourself, to be true to yourself. So everything that you're doing should be something that is in alignment with yourself. Tananarive's mother, who is responsible for a lot of who it is that she is, her mom was a tiger. Let me tell you, this is just no question about it. She offered lots of different opportunities to Tananarive and her sisters, looking to see what they would be spontaneously attracted to. Then whatever they were spontaneously attracted to, she would ask, is it possible to make a living at this? If the answer is yes, then she got behind it. And she would show them, she would lay out for each of them a path by which they could relatively securely get to the point where they could actualize their dreams. Like for Tananarive, it was, you're going to have a job. Journalism is a perfectly good occupation where you can get a weekly paycheck and also learn the skills and make connections that will help you in your writing career. And was she right? Absolutely. Tenerife learned discipline and proper use of communication and research. And not only that, but her connection at the Miami Herald led her to becoming a friend of Stephen King, who then gave her a cover blurb for her second novel. So Teneri's mom deserves a huge amount of respect. Her dad, her family, they found a way to look at what is she, who is she at her core, and then line up the things that she needs to do to get to where she wants to go. For me, that I didn't have that. My mom was able to give me the notion that I was capable of improving and that there were ways to learn to get better and that there were people who had those answers and that I deserved it. And one thing I knew from my mom was that she loved me, and that made me feel like I was lovable. It took me years of therapy and all hypnosis and self-hypnosis and shamanism and all sorts of things to connect with my heart sufficiently that I was able to step away from the negative social programming and be able to be Steve. And it took me 24 years of martial arts practice to earn a black belt because I had so much fear to work through. But once I worked through it, one of the things I got was the freedom to be a goofball. I mean, the freedom to cry in public or laugh when I want to or dance as I'm walking down the street or whatever, because I don't really care anymore. What are you going to do? How are you going to hurt me? It's like I've been hurt. I've been hurt by experts. It's just pain. I'm not. You can give me pain, but you can't make me suffer. If you understand, I'm not going to be worried about your opinion about me until I got something to worry about, and then I will deal with it the best I can. Maybe I'll win. Maybe I'll lose. Hopefully, we'll become friends. Hopefully, we'll become friends. But I'm going to live my life. Tananarive's going to live her life. When we met each other, we each recognized energetically that we could conceivably do this dance together. And the marriage proposal was really a way of saying, we're going in the same direction, at the same speed, with the same energy. Would you like to climb this mountain together? And I recognized what she was. It hit me like a bomb at the moment I realized who Tananarive was. I'd known her for 3 days, and she gave a talk about how she got Stephen King to give her a cover blurb. And I saw her focus. I saw how she used multiple skills to get where she wanted to go. I saw her commitment. I saw her energy. Those things, seeing who she was, gave me permission to notice how she looked. I literally hadn't registered on me that I thought she was hugely attractive until I saw her essence, at which point it literally hit me like a bomb. Just this chill going up my spine as I recognized a potential soulmate. A soulmate, by this definition, is someone who, when you meet them, you can see your future before you, a future that you could walk together. It's not the only person who could conceivably walk that with you, but it's one. I figure it's, one out of every few thousand people. 10,000, let's say maybe one out of every 10,000 people could potentially be that for you. Which is one of the reasons why it's important to be nice to everybody. Because if the average person, if you know about 600 people, that you're never more than one step removed. Somebody who knows the person that you want. And so all you need is for people to be talking about you in a good way, and the person who you're looking for will hear about you and will say, I'd like to meet that person. But you have to focus on who you are and what you're becoming. Tananarive was focused on becoming who she was destined to be in the world. We met at a Black African American science fiction conference, one of the first one that was ever held, recognized each other, and within 72 hours of meeting, were functionally engaged because each of us knew what it was that we wanted in life, and so we were able to recognize it in each other. The rest was working out details and being sure that we knew what we wanted. MAGIC. Do you have a mapper model, a mentor for what you want? Are you taking daily action? Are you flooding yourself with gratitude every day for all of your blessings in life? If you're not happy about the things that have happened, how are you going to have any faith that something good can happen tomorrow? You got to connect with the blessings you already have. How clear are you on what it is that you're trying to achieve? And do you feel about how do you feel that what you're doing is in alignment with your deepest being, that you're constantly doing that? If you have at least a one in each of those categories, say 0 to 9, if you have at least a one in each of those categories, you're moving. You have a mentor, you're taking action, you're controlling your emotions to the positive, you have a clear intention, and what you're doing is constantly actualizing yourself, because success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. By the time you get up to a 5 or a 6 in each category, you will start noticing that luck starts happening to you. It is you get calls out of nowhere, letters out of nowhere. People you haven't talked to in years will remember that they owe you money. It is the strangest thing, but it happens, and it is predictable if you will pump up the volume on those 5 elements: mapper, mentor, daily actions, gratitude, intention, and core, your core being, core character, however you want to say that. Because we kept moving, we eventually made the connections that made it possible for us to submit a short film script to a contest. There were thousands of entrants, and there were, I think, 10 winners out of thousands. We were one of them. If we do this right, so now we have to apply the magic formula to doing this short subject. Who do we know who has already made films, who can advise us about everything we don't know? It's Rumsfeld's unknown unknowns. What actions can we take every day? There are lessons we can take. We can have planning meetings, pre-production meetings, etc., etc. Gratitude. There will be and is fear connected with this. Oh yeah, you better believe it. There's fear connected with it. The antidote for fear is gratitude. So the more gratitude we feel for this moment in time, when everything we've done has led us to this point, the less the fear stops us, and instead the fear motivates us to take action. Fear and other negative emotions disappear in flow state. They disappear if you're totally engaged. So what you have to do is you have to look at the situation, ask, okay, what am I afraid of? What's the worst that can happen? How can I prepare myself to thrive? What is it I can do today that will help me improve my chances of having a happy situation happen here? If you can dig yourself deep into the actions, is it study? Is it talking to people? Is it working? What is it you need to do? Do it. And you will understand if you look at it and you say, this is taking me 1% closer to where it is I'm trying to go. I'm getting 1% closer this week. Or if you're a real go-getter, 1% closer today. There is nothing you can't accomplish in life if you improve by 1% per week. And if you improve by 1% per day, if you aim at that, you're a beast. You're a beast. Nothing can stop you. It's like, holy crap, you're going to crush everything in your path. If you make that commitment and you're constantly researching to learn how to do that better and better and better and better, there are people with answers about how to do that. Research them. Find them. This is what we have to do. The clear intention is to first do a radio play that we're working on, which will teach us more about the direction process. Then do the short film. It will probably happen next May. Bring that home and roll that into a feature. Now, the money that we get from this, we want as close to 100% of that money going on the screen. That we have to be making, even though this is going to take time out of our work, we have to look at this as an investment. That the seed capital that they're going to give us to make these things, that's not going to us. That's going into the production. So we need additional funds, excess funds. We need to build up our safety net, our cushion, so that we can afford to, in essence, donate that time to, what is it for a short subject? A week? A movie? Was that 6 weeks? Maybe 8 weeks or more? Whatever that is, that it's going to take, it's going to force you to focus completely. We have to be capable of doing it with joy, whistling while we work, feeling this is the opportunity of a lifetime. And we have to feel, is this us? All of that doubt comes from the part of us that isn't sure that we deserve it, isn't sure that we can do it. We've not done this before. Is this us? And this is where that fun thing that we do when Tananariu and I are hit with a challenge and we're not absolutely sure that we can do it, we will look at each other and we will say, we are that bitch. This is just what we do. And we laugh and we realize that we came together because we knew that together we could do things that were bigger than we could do individually. Within 72 hours after meeting, we were sitting at the airport in Atlanta, holding hands, our heads leaning against each other, talking about how we could build an empire together. The mistake we made for the first 15 years was thinking somebody was going to hand us that empire. So we thought if we worked enough, we could get it done. No, you have to build your own. God bless the child that's got his own. We have to build it ourselves. And as soon as we took that responsibility, things started changing. So what is it that you can do to help the people you love in 2025? First, take care of yourself. Second, take responsibility for helping at least 3 other people. If you can, for helping 10 people. That you have a sense that you have to expand your boundaries because the world needs you. Okay. That could be taking care of people financially. It could be just making them smile. Then take care of more people in the world. So you start with yourself, you go to at least 3 people, and then you go to the question of what is it you can contribute to the entire world. For me, I want to help 1 million people on that path of escape suffering, embrace joy, be of service. 1,000 people, each of whom will take responsibility for 100 people. And each of those are willing to take responsibility for 10 people. If I do that, 1,000 people, each taking care of 100 people, each of those taking care of 10 people, I get to my million. And I can feel that I've changed the world for the better in my lifetime. All right. So this meeting works if you guys bring your concerns in here. The buy-in, the thing that you need in order to work this, the first thing you have to do is believe that this is true, that what I'm talking about works. So the initial buy-in is the breathing. It's the simplest way to keep stress from becoming strain. And that is that 5 times a day for 60 seconds at the top of every hour, you do 60 seconds of deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing. Do this for 2 weeks. Keep track of how much you get done and how it felt to do it. And at the end of 2 weeks, and you do that every day. At the beginning of the day, write, this is what I need to accomplish. At the end of the day, look to see if you accomplished it. If you can get yourself to do the breathing in just 2 weeks, you will know whether or not that was useful to you. You'll know whether or not it worked. And that will give you an indication of whether or not you can trust what it is that I'm saying. Because everything that I'm doing is based on that physiological, psychological, therapeutic, proper breathing that allows you to deal with stress without it becoming strain. And when you do that, you're turning stress into energy. And if you invest that energy in doing things that move your life forward, you're winning the game, because success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal, and escaping suffering, embracing joy, and being of service is our meta goal. So this is a success program that guarantees success if you'll just spend 5 minutes a day breathing properly, because you automatically begin to escape suffering, because suffering doesn't exist in the moment. Suffering exists in your memories of the past, in your anticipation of the future. So it all fits together. It all fits together. And now, what I would love is for you to, somebody raise their hand and talk about what brings you here and what you're working on. Make me prove to you that this works by helping you, coaching you. I love coaching people. I used to get $1,000 an hour for coaching people, but I decided I didn't want to do that anymore because the only people who could afford me were people I didn't particularly care about. It's like I would much rather give my time to people that I care about. So we do coaching. You could go to afrofuturismwebinar.com or realheroesjourney.com, and you'll find out about the products that we sell. So, instead of getting a bunch of money for an hour of my time, what I do is I get a little bit of money from lots of different people, or because I have done that, I can spend this time coaching you guys for free. So I would love very much for you to raise your hands, volunteer, or you will be voluntold, as they say. And there are people who I have not seen for a while. So I would like very much for you to raise your hands and let me know what I can do to assist you today. Judy Lata, do we know you?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm delighted to be here in the company of this wonderful august group and to get
Aren't
your
these people
wisdom.
wonderful? These people
I
are really terrific. They really
Oh my
are.
goodness, this is actually my first time, and I am
Oh, welcome. So tell us a little about yourself and what it is
oh
that we
my
can offer you.
goodness. Oh my goodness. I really am just here to learn and to listen. Uh, I
Okay,
am um I am a I'm a writer.
good.
Um,
I love writers.
I declare myself a writer because I write.
Absolutely. I have to do that same thing every day. Trust me. Who
Uh,
am I? Oh, that's right. I'm a writer. Oh, God.
and I have, in fact, I'm just really excited because I have my third self-published book that just came
Okay.
out. It's called On Sharp Edges, Poem Stories. And it was an accidental book, because it was not intended to actually be a book. Um, but it kind of grew, and this is why I so much appreciate your magic formula and the things that you're talking about, because this kind of came out of service that I was rendering to people. So I also am a retired professor. Um,
What did you
well,
teach?
I taught communications.
That's fantastic.
I was
God, I
how
have this real love of really, really smart women. So, I
uh,
just do.
I'm a professor emerita from Howard University. I was there for 35 years. And
Wow. Wow.
a long time.
So, but yeah, but you understand, if you want to help, if you want to change the world, teach. If you want to change
Yes,
the world faster, teach teachers.
that's
So,
exactly right.
what can I do for you? What can I help you with? Because I would love to help you.
Oh, Mike, well, I've just been stuck.
Okay.
And I actually have so the book that just came out, as I said, was an accidental book that I produced. The other one is a manuscript that I have been working on for about 15 years. And it is based upon the letters that my mother and father wrote to each other during World War II. They are the actual letters that I actually have. And they were love letters that they wrote to each other. Um, and there were some 300 letters. I have the actual letters and have actually completed the manuscript, but I'm stuck.
So where are you stuck?
So I'm not sure exactly what to do next with this manuscript that I had. I've sent it out to different um, places, and actually I had gotten some positive feedback, but the one publisher that was interested in doing it really was interested in more rights, in my giving more rights than I was willing to give.
What kind of
uh,
rights were they asking for?
Everything. They wanted to be able to, basically they said that they would, and it's been so long ago, actually, it's been now about 5 years ago, so I haven't actually touched this. But they wanted a whole lot. I guess I just need to try to figure out how do I move, what are the actions that I need to take now to kind of move this from this place where it's this manuscript and until it's something that people can read and experience. And
Okay. So let's take a look at this. You want to get this in front of people.
yes,
And it isn't necessarily that you want to make $1 million doing it. You want to do is you want
absolutely.
to share your parents' love. Okay, well, there
Yes.
are a lot of different ways to do that. So the first thing you have to do is to study people who have created similar works. But
Hmm.
that is not necessarily a book. It could be a series of blog posts.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
that would also get it in front. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that I would need to do in order to satisfy this goal? Your biggest goal is probably not directly connected with the letters. It's probably with learning how to express yourself, publish books, maybe even publish a work of fiction, unless
Hmm.
you want to publish nonfiction exclusively. So,
Hmm.
studying the people who have already done the kind of thing that you want to do will teach you the steps you need to take. Uh,
Yes.
The problem that you have is that everyone's got a love story. Not
Hmm.
everyone has the letters about it, but the basic, unless there was something unusual about it, like your father was a great poet or your mother was a senator or something like that, it's going to be heartfelt and human
Yes.
and beautiful,
Uh-huh.
but you're going to have a hard time moving it unless you create some context around it. What is it that you're trying to teach, to show? What is your attitude about it? How do you guide people's emotions? There's no way for me to offer you a concrete suggestion other than look at the people who have done similar things. How did
Yes.
they do it? What did they
Yes.
do? And you need to step away from the degree to which you adore your parents and look at this like a cold-blooded marketer,
Right.
because you can, in order to do that, because it's easy to have that child sense of, I want to keep my parents alive forever. There's this beautiful thing. I was born from their love. This connects directly. If you can find the right way to frame it so
Yes.
people looking at it will feel something like you feel, see, that's probably going to be dependent upon what you say about the letters
So,
more than the
yes.
letters themselves.
Well,
But
as,
yes,
oh, I'm sorry. No, no, go ahead.
no.
Because,
So go ahead, please.
the one thing I was, because as you speak, what becomes very clear. So these were African American um, parents. My father was among the last of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Whoa.
Both of them were educators. This is in the 1940s, um, and they both were professors at a college. And this is the early 1940s. So you could count the number of African Americans who were doing this, and um, so there
Okay, I
is.
can think of one thing you could do.
Yes.
One thing you could do is to make your love letters from your parents a chapter in a book about African American love.
Hmm.
That you could solicit letters and stories from other black people and put it together into a collection. Now you've got something that automatically has greater interest because it's not specifically about your parents, it's about a generation.
Hmm.
So that's one way to do it. All I'm saying is your path is going to be to studying the people who have succeeded at the thing that you're trying to do and to define an action you can take. So, one action you might take is every day you're going to find one article, one book on somebody who published love letters or published black letters or is talking about black relationships or something that is tangential enough that you're educating yourself to what's possible, what's going on here, how does the market respond, et cetera, et cetera. That notion of always looking to the people who've already succeeded at the thing that you want to do is central to Magic Formula. Doing something every day,
Mm.
no matter how small, writing one sentence is critical. Constantly reconnecting with your love and realizing that what you want to do is to share this love with the world and that you're grateful for the opportunity to do this. Not everyone has that wealth that you've got there. So you
Yeah.
might want to ask yourself, is it really that you want to do a book, or is it just that you want to make sure that this story lives? And there are
Mm.
many ways you can do that. Okay, you're not limited by what you do there, including potentially telling writing a novel
Mm.
that is about people very similar to your mom and dad, but creating a framework, that allows you to tell a story, and you have the propulsive aspect that plotting a fiction story enables you to do.
Mm.
Or you could write a series of short stories that deal with the events and the things that are happening there. There are going to be more ways of addressing it than you can imagine. As long as you keep your eye on the ball, the goal, the intention is to share their love with the world, that it
Thank
never die. And the core of who you are is a loving, appreciative daughter. Okay.
Yes.
So you have to serve that daughter by being a hard eyed businesswoman, is
Mm.
saying, what's going on here? Because otherwise, that little girl will not be able to fulfill her dreams. So, mom, that part of you, the business person part of you, has to have a cold eyed look at what is the market, how does it work, what can I do? I can guarantee you that if you do that properly, there's an answer. There's an
Mm.
answer. And it probably isn't something that you've already thought of, but there will be answers. And the more people you express your dream to, this is what I want to accomplish. Keep looking at, what's the deep goal here? And you talk to people about it.
Mm.
Here, let me change my background here for a second because there's another background that's really, really, really useful. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich
Mm.
that I believe in. My mom hammered this into me when I was a kid. When I was about 10 years old, she would
Mhm.
play the records for it. And hold on for just a second, I can do even better than that. I'll go over here to YouTube, Think and Grow Rich, Earl Nightingale, and I'm going to put into the chat
Mm.
a link to a YouTube video that has a condensation of the book Think and Grow Rich. Okay? So let's say that you go down this thing and your desire is to keep your parents' love alive forever, to honor them for all they gave you. Okay? You must have faith, number two, that it's possible for you to do that and that it would be a gift to the world and to yourself. The third step, auto suggestion, is you have to be sure that you are aligned internally, that you really believe this. You believe you can do it. You believe that it's possible to do it. You believe it's a good thing to do it. The fourth step, specialized knowledge. You're going to do research,
Mm.
massive research into other people who have done this before you. There is an answer. There's absolutely an answer. You have to keep faith, number two, that there is an answer. You just take position. I don't know what that answer is yet, but I'm going to find it. When you do enough research that you could teach a class in how to do this and how to create a nonfiction book and how to take your family history and turn it into something precious, something valuable,
Mhm.
you're ready to start using five, your imagination.
Mm.
Think about the ways you could do it. And trust me, there are no limit to the ways. There are only limits to your imagination. And if your attitude is, I'm going to get this done one way or the other, I'm going to find a way to make this happen, it will happen. It
Yeah.
will happen. Okay.
Yes.
So then that leads you to number six, organized planning. You come up with a plan. Now, the magic formula is one plan, is one way of approaching this. I always suggest that people have two plans. The people have two ways of looking at it. I love Think and Grow Rich. I think it is the best success pattern that has ever existed. So you could use just these two with the idea of applying it to your work. Number seven is you make a decision. You're going to send out a letter, a proposal every day to a different publishing company. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And then you need persistence. And the ninth step is find a group of people or find one other person who is willing to align with you. Like, let's say somebody else who wants to do the same thing with their family history. Now the two of you talk every single week. What are you doing? What are you learning? How are you doing it? How can I support you? This is what the support I need from you. You find one person who is willing to dream with you, and you meet with that person via Zoom or phone call or in person every week, and you talk about your plans and your actions. You can have more than one person, but
Hmm.
be very careful that you don't add people faster than you're able to ensure that they're actually in alignment with you. Two people who are in total alignment are better than 20 people who are pulling in opposite directions.
Yes.
Okay? So that's as far as I'm going to go with this, because I really want you to take responsibility, to simply make a commitment. I'm going to get this out. It's going to
Yes.
happen. Now, how am I going to do it? And if you will do that, and you will use the magic formula, you can get a copy of the magic formula at realheroesjourney.com. And if you cannot afford it, I offer free copies to the people on this call because it is that important.
Yes.
Realheroesjourney.com. Somebody please type that into chat. We want you to win. If you come here and every week you ask questions, you say, this is my plan, this is how I'm doing it, what do you think? We get to mastermind with you. And
Wow.
it's a beautiful thing because everybody on this call is committed to escaping suffering, increasing joy, and being of service. We all have different ways of doing it, but you've come across people who actually care about trying to make their own lives better, who actually love other people enough to want to increase their joy and understand that the world only moves forward if we move forward together. So whatever we can do to serve you, we will do what you can, especially if you in chat and otherwise support them. You say, well, how can I support you? That's how you get people to say, well, how can I support you back? But if you'll
Yes.
take that magic formula thing, who is doing the kind of thing that you want done in one way or the other?
Hmm.
What actions can you take daily? And that's a tiny action. It could be an action that takes 5 minutes.
Yes.
How much gratitude are you going to fill your heart with just for the beauty of having these wonderful letters that you want to share with the world, even if it's just for your own treasure? But I can promise you that there's somebody who needs to see them. There's
Yes.
someone who needs to believe that love is possible. There's
Hmm.
someone who needs to understand that there are lives and hearts to save if you can find the right way of bringing this to the world. Clarify your intention, which is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service, and see exactly how publishing this or sharing this with the world is that process. And know that it comes from your core, because at the core of who you are the daughter of these two exceptional people. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Oh, wow. This is just so terrific. It makes perfect sense. And as I'm thinking through what you're saying, the escaping suffering, embracing joy, and being of service is like a natural it's a continuum, and
Yes.
it's a natural thing.
Yeah, and look at this. Look at this. It's so natural. Um, Look, starting from the bottom, the first three chakras are about personal survival, genetic survival, relationship, sexuality, and tribal survival, power. Okay. So that's the escaping suffering part.
Mhm.
Okay. The next two are about your heart space, finding joy. And when you are no longer afraid, and this is not a political podcast, but I will say that on the last election, we saw the result of what happens when people are voting out of fear.
Mm,
Okay?
mhm.
When people are not in fear, it's safe for them to love. And when they're out of fear and they're in touch with love, they automatically begin to extend themselves to the people around them. So if you want to heal the world, especially along two issues that are very interesting to me, gender issues and racial issues are very interesting to me.
Yes.
We can we are at a point where people who are conscious about this can make a difference in the world in the next 4 years because
Mm,
people are going to be looking for answers. Find those answers in your own life, and you will be able to say to the people around you, follow me.
mm. Yes. Yes. Thank
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much, Judy, and you're so welcome here. We're here every Friday.
you. Okay.
The URL is thefiredance.com, 12 noon Pacific. Tell your friends.
I will do
And
that. And I'm so glad
absolutely.
I found you. And it was no accident. This was intentional, an
Yes.
intentional discovery.
There you go. So if you will let us be your mentors, not your only mentors, you're going to have to find people who are more specific to what you want. But what we will do to the absolute best of our ability is tell you the truth as we see it.
Mm,
And if you will do the breathing is the most important practice for a bunch of different reasons. So you accept that at least 5 times a day for 60 seconds, you're going to do deep, slow diaphragmatic breathing. And while you're doing it, you can think about all the things you're grateful for. And you can think about what you're going to accomplish. And that will keep you on track. Okay, sweetheart?
thank you. Thank
You're
you so
very
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. So let's see who's next. Somebody raise your hands, volunteer, or you will be voluntold. I can absolutely promise you. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, Megan Lancaster, it's Maggie. Where did Megan go?
She just couldn't
There you are.
find the buttons. Hi. Hello. First of all,
Hi, sweetheart.
hi. I can't see you. I just see me. Okay. There you go. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Judy, because as I was listening to you talk to her and her about her thoughts and ideas and what she wants to do, a light came on. It wouldn't have come on at an earlier time because of a book I've been reading, but suddenly I realized that I've been going in one direction and it's just a couple degrees for years, and it's just a couple degrees off of where I really need to be. And I think I can make that turn.
I am dying to find out what it is you feel like it needs to be. What does it need to be, sweetheart?
All right, so since like 2020, my purpose for my art, the internal purpose for my art is to portray the universe in all its glory, amazing, how it's so amazing at the microscopic level, at the subatomic level, at the galactic level, in a not in a precise realistic way, but in a more emotional way. I have been reading the Tao of Physics, and I now realize that what I really want to say is not how marvelous the universe is, but how singular the universe, how universal, how we are all the universe. The universe cannot be separated from us. We are all together what the universe is. Us, the lions, the stars, the air, the subatomic particles, everything. It's all one. And I've known that for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, you feel it in your bones, don't you?
I do. But reading the Tao of Physics and having those two things put together and shown to me by somebody who could speak very well about both, it's been amazing for me. I'm only about halfway through, but it really like just lit up some lights.
So let me ask you a question. If you had been acting in alignment with what it is you really need to do, what would be different about your days? How would your actions have been different over the last year?
Well, I would have been more, let me put it this way, I would have been more insistent about getting into the studio every day that I wasn't either having to travel or like last few days sick. And that would be one. That would probably be the number one thing. I have been on I think a good journey this year of learning some of the actions that I can take and getting started on things like more understanding better the grants that are available to me, and how I might be able to secure one of those. So that's an important thing to me. And the other thing that I've
So
actually did for the last year,
let me
relearning my
focus in on that for a moment. Meg, let me focus in on that for a moment. So getting a grant would be a positive step in terms of your artistic goals, right?
yes.
Okay. So what you need to do then is to get better and better at identifying where these grants are available and marketing yourself to get it, right?
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
need to be as direct as possible, and be able to say that with power. And I would suggest that you find someone who's really good at getting grants and study what they do, their attitudes, their actions, their beliefs, so that you can apply the magic formula to it. Who's really good at that? What map or model can you find? Just people who are great at doing that. Then every day you take an action that is can be a small action that moves you in that direction. And you make sure that one of those actions is that you, in your morning meditation or your morning ritual, you are constantly working on the emotions, the values, the beliefs, the positive and negative emotional anchors that make it possible to wake up in the morning and say with clarity, I'm going to get 1% closer to getting that goal. I'm going to take 1% more action. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. I am that bitch. I can do this 100%. You want the clarity that has no none of that stuff. Just there. It's like if you're at the table and you want the salt, you reach out your hand and you get the salt. You have a clear goal. You know where the salt is. You know what you need to do to get it. You reach for it. There's no okay? That stuff is all the old self slowing you down. Do I dare say this? Can I say this out loud? What if I try? What if I admit I want this and I can't do it? Isn't that going to hurt? That kind of stuff. The more directly you can see the goal you want, and the actions you can take to get there, even if the first action is, I'm going to research the hell out of this. The more clearly you can see it, the easier it is to do it the same way reaching out for the salt. That you have to be able to align. That I am totally willing to align with you as you develop a goal of getting that grant. Okay, that if that grant would move you to the next step, then that's a perfectly good goal. Okay?
Oh, thank you. This is not why I raised my hand,
Well, tell me why you raised your hand.
but I really appreciate what you've said.
Tell me why you raised your hand.
I raised my hand because I wanted to ask you, and it's very pertinent to this, what you know about, if anything, about epigenetics, because I got an interesting thing this morning about it from my shaman journey experience today. And
Okay. I actually happen to be studying epigenetics right now.
cool.
I mean,
Right.
seriously. I mean, that is not a
In that
joke.
case, I don't want to know everything you know about it. I only want to know what you know about how it relates to DNA coiling or DNA like misshaping and because she just like blew my mind.
Well, I mean, what is true is that epigenetics is the way the environment and your emotions or whatever, but specifically environment turns genetic codes on and off.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
to allow people to survive in a particular situation better. That's what your genetics are trying to do. They're just trying to aid your survival. So you have your genetics, and then you have the way those genetics express in a particular context. Okay. And there are things that can cause damage, like pollutants, negative emotions, fear can turn those things on and off and will therefore express themselves. The things that the environment that you were in childhood can influence the way you express your genetic potential for the rest of your life, unless you go in there and you can change those things. So the genetics are what you're born with. The epigenetics are the dip switches inside your genetics that can be turned on and off by your environment. Does that make sense?
Yes. So this is what she told us, which was very interesting to me. So she said we're going to be doing our journey with a focus on gratitude. And then she said, well, but not gratitude is in our culture now, but we're not talking about that kind of gratitude. It's entered the culture. We're talking about not your gratitude, essentially, not your gratitude to the universe for everything you have, but the universe's gratitude towards you. I mean, she didn't say these words exactly, but this is how it worked out. We were to go into our journey, meet with a being of light, and be embraced by that being of light, which is showing us its gratitude for our existence. And it was powerful. And her point was that also that kind of feeling that you get from that will help can help with the stresses. They epigenetically help.
Okay.
That
So I would like for you to look at the Think and Grow Rich pattern, which is a mundane way of looking at this, would touch on what she just said two different places. One would be autosuggestion, that the rituals that you're going through are designed to align you internally with what you need to be. Okay. So being grateful for the universe is one thing, but thinking and feeling that the universe is grateful for you is an entirely different level. In order to do that, you have to be aligned so that your existence is furthering the purpose of the universe, that you're here as a blessing to the universe as well as the universe having been good to you. That is a higher level. So that's up there around 12 and 13, the sixth sense, the brain, the unconscious mind. The number 13, sixth sense. See, the number 11, which is the unconscious mind, is being able to align between your conscious and unconscious minds. Number 12, the brain, is using your brain as a tuning fork to align with the people around you. But number 13, the sixth sense, is being aligned with the universe itself, with the Akashic records, with that purpose. That is the point that shamans try to get to, because then you simply chop wood, carry water, and you're in alignment with the universe. The universe is providing for you. You're automatically expanding. That is a very high level of alignment, to basically just sort of be able to zen through life. You just wake up in the morning, do the things you do, and the universe, good things are happening. You're not fighting yourself anymore. And that's on a profound level, a deep level. So the kind of work she's asking you to do is completing the circle. One circle is being grateful to the universe. The idea of the universe being grateful to you, that's really cool. That is really cool. I like that a lot. I'm going to have to think about that one. I literally don't remember that one being expressed directly. I know the feeling of being a part of the universe and being grateful to be a part of the universe and to be grateful the universe is evolving and doing my part in it. But I never specifically asked that question, is the universe grateful for me? I like it. That's the kind of thing I love people bringing into this space. I'm sorry. That's a good one, Megan. Good one. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. That's a serious win.
You're welcome, and thank you.
You bet. All right. So yeah, I mean that. That's God. That's great. How would you how would you look at the world if you thought that the universe was grateful that you are here? What a beautiful way to look at things. I just, I'm really interested in that. That's a cool one. Okay, Chuck Lavazzi. I would love for Chuck Lavazzi to grace us with his presence. Thank you, Chuck.
Be careful what you ask for, Stephen.
I always am, buddy. So, how you doing, and what can we do for you?
Oh, well, I mean, I am mostly just getting my weekly dose of motivation enhancement here.
Fantastic.
So
Now,
I have resisted saying anything because you have some other folks who you've been a big help to this week, and I'm doing okay, really. I appreciate some of the things that you did on Facebook this week. They reminded me that I was doing things that were going in the right direction, but it encouraged me to continue doing that. The big one being before you even have breakfast, or in my case, brunch, do your exercises, mental and physical, do this basic stuff first
yeah, and
before
let
you
me tell
start your
you
day.
that if you talk to somebody who's poor, they'll say they don't have the time to, let's say, exercise. You talk to somebody who's rich, and they'll say they don't have time to exercise because they're too busy managing the wealth. I literally know broke people and multimillionaires who are getting fat because they don't have time to exercise or watch their diets. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with how busy you are. Fortune 500 CEOs tend to have the physicality of professional athletes because they know that this is necessary to their work.
Mm.
If you go into the inner cities at the playgrounds, you will see guys who are totally broke but have bodies like Mr. Olympia because they work out. It's important to them. So you take the things that are most important to your life and do it before you eat.
Mhm.
So if you have to do, like if it's a sentence a day, you do your sentence a day. If it's doing the five Tibetans for your body, you do the five Tibetans. If it's meditating for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you do that before you eat. You look at what are the
Mhm.
basic things you need to do to hunt and gather. Because in the natural world, you have to stretch, you have to get up, you have to stretch, you have to go look for food, or you have to, to hunt for food, or you have to avoid being hunted. That this is just the survival stuff. And society will constantly try to convince you that trivial things are important.
Yes.
You have to decide what's important. You have to take your life back from the world. And what is it you're going to for? You're going for escape suffering, embrace joy, and being of service.
Yeah.
Don't step
Yeah.
off that path. Be very careful. The entire world of Madison Avenue is about convincing you that things that you might want are things that you need. That's
Yes.
that's everything that they're doing. You might want it. This is interesting. That's interesting. But it's their job to try to convince you that you need it. If you don't have this, you're going to die.
Hmm.
Or
Yes. You ever read Vance
you're
Packard's book, The Waste Makers? You're probably too young to
the
remember
what?
that. The Waste Makers by Vance Packard. He wrote a
Uh-uh.
number of, yeah, he wrote, The Waste Makers was about planned obsolescence.
Mm,
This is coming in the 50s. When we were just seeing the beginning of the throw it away and get something else society.
got it.
But
Got it.
he wrote that and a couple other. The Hidden Persuaders was another one about the way Madison Avenue and now, of course, all of corporate America used the kind of triggers that you talk about, but in a negative way, as ways to exploit you.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just called black hat marketing.
yeah, yeah.
Black hat marketing is fear, especially artificially stoked fear. White hat
Mhm.
marketing is joy. Is what do people really want? They want they want to be healthy and happy and sexually attractive and so forth. They want these things, but don't tell them that they can't have these things without your damn product. Of
Right.
course they can have these things. Deciding that you're going to be ethical about how you promote what it is that you're doing in life, the product or service you're offering, is a decision to stay within the three gates, to ask, is it true? Is it kind? Is it useful? If it's the truth, and it's kind and it's useful, you'll sell it. You'll sell
Yes.
it. Okay? All you have to do is convince people that it is true by building a reputation for being honest, being loving enough that they believe that you care about them. And now they will hear, well, what is it that you consider to be useful here? And, it's totally possible to live a wonderful life and be a moral, decent, loving human being. I believe that with every fiber of my being. And I try to exemplify that in my life. Do I always make it? No, of course I don't. But I can be honest about that. And I can be honest that my commitment is to recognize that as fast as possible and try to surround myself with people who remind me, Steve, you're not being who you are. Steve, you're off the path. Okay?
Hmm.
It's a little bit like a writer who has written their whole lives being honest about their emotions and getting better with their words until one day they write a bestseller. And then everybody says, write another one of those and we'll give you this money. This thing that you have wanted your entire life. Unless you can write that sequel still in alignment with the same place of honesty that you wrote the first one with, you are stepping off the path. In yoga, it is one of the things is that when you're one of the ways you know you're on the path is luck starts changing. You become charismatic. Translate that into people want you sexually and they want to be around you. If if you make the mistake of thinking like anytime I'm teaching a group of people, I'm looking for that energetic where the guys are all just a little bit wary of me and the women are all a little curious, if you know what I mean. If I made the mistake of thinking that their reaction was about me, I'd step off the path and I might abuse that power. But if I
Right.
understand they're not attracted to me, they're attracted to the path. They're attracted to these things that I'm doing. I'm simply one of the people on that path. Teachers and gurus and so forth make this mistake all the time. Creative people make the mistake of stepping off the path. You just do this again. When your path is to be original every time, and somebody says, "Well, here's some money. If you do it again, you have to make a decision." And maybe your family needs that money. And there are times when you will do that thing again because you need to take care of your family. And the family is more important. But you understand that the beautiful thing you could do then is, what if I wrote a story that's very similar to that story, but one of the thematics in that story is sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do. Sometimes we have to do things that are not optimal. How do we keep our soul anyway? In other words, you do the thing that you have to do, but find a way to make it meaningful. That you
Yeah.
resist ever doing anything that is not meaningful. And you believe that if you do that, you can get the same results that somebody else might get a little faster if they step off the path and chase the money. Because if they step off the path and chase the money, they'll get that money for a little while. But then they'll realize what'll happen is they'll stop getting those results and they'll look over their shoulder and they can't find the path anymore. It's like
Yeah.
somebody said in Hollywood, but Hollywood is like a pile of fertilizer with a rose at the top. And by the time you climb all the way to the top, you have lost your sense of smell.
And you got one, yes, and you're covered with fertilizer, so
There you go. You're covered with
edible.
fertilizer.
That's what. You
Absolutely.
did say something earlier that I wanted to touch on again because it's so important about, to quote Dune, fear is the mind killer, right? That will kill any attempt you want to make to improve your life. I know this personally because I got over my fear a few decades ago, but it was the hard way. I had a near-death experience. I don't recommend it. But it made me rethink what I've been doing with my life, right? It made me realize I had to change some things. I would recommend that if other people feel fear is holding them back, don't have a near-death experience, but but find a way to realize it's something you need to overcome. And I think that's such an
The way I
important
look
thing.
at that is with sufficient clarity, you see that fear does not mean anything except your body and mind are preparing itself to act. It doesn't mean you can't, you shouldn't, you mustn't, that you're small, that you're a coward. It doesn't mean any of that crap. It just means your body and mind are getting ready to act. So people think, let me see, people think that if fear is here and you're here, that on the other side is the thing that you want. So the fear is stopping you. But the truth is that you can change this so that is here, fear is here, you're here, and the thing you want is here. So the fear is actually pushing you towards it. And all you need to do that is to recognize, is to clarify your values, what you're trying to achieve, and understand that we don't have forever to play this game. It has been said that the awareness of death is the beginning of all time management. All time management is about remembering you're going to die.
Okay,
Memento
I like
mori,
that.
thou art mortal. That when you understand that your real fear is not completing your life to the degree you're possible, to not helping your loved ones as much as you can, not telling the stories that are in your heart, then the fear of not acting becomes stronger than your fear of action, and you take a step towards your goal. And as you take steps, you are in action. When you're in action, there's a chance of going into flow. When you're in flow, doing something that is taking you towards your goal, there is no fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Listen, yeah, it only took me 25 years of martial arts training before I started grasping that there was a way out of that box.
Yeah, I know.
So
It can be difficult to get around that. I mean, as I say, I had to
it
do it
can.
the hard way, but there are easier ways you can do it than nearly dying.
Well, I am glad that you did not die, and I'm glad that you're here. So we have time for about one more question, comment, or request on what we're doing. Shanta Cannon. Is Shanta there? And would
I am.
Shanta,
Hey.
hey, and would you give us the very real honor of talking to us about what is going on in Shanta land?
Well, I'm trying to make a decision, and I'm happy you picked me because I was wondering what to do. Because I know that you and Tanana Reed were offering some live classes next year, and I'm trying to decide which one to do.
We're offering classes.
Yeah, the live ones that you guys mentioned next year.
Yes, you're talking about the live classes. We're doing
Yes,
live classes, which I'm really happy about, on Afrofuturism, screenwriting, and horror.
I'm trying to pick
Um,
one.
you're trying to pick one? Well,
Yeah.
what is it that you want to do?
Well, I'm already doing the 30-day horror course.
Great.
I'm in the middle of doing that between everything else, but I absolutely love it. So I
Well, if
wasn't
you're
sure.
interested in horror, take the horror class.
But the Afrofuturism one seems so interesting.
Okay, so here's the whole thing. You could take both. You could take both. You could sign up for the one that comes first, and then see whether or not you still need the other one.
I think I'll still need it.
Okay, then sign up for both of them. And where are you located?
Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to come live, so you would Zoom with us, and I would say you come with a project of some kind in mind, so that we can answer your questions. The most valuable thing about those classes being live is that you can ask questions.
Hmm, okay.
Okay, so that we can know. Our goal is to transfer a certain base of understanding to you, but really what we're trying to do is to get you in movement, to get you to actually write the things that you want to write and be successful and have fun in the process. That's what we want. So we would invite you to take both. And if to anyone who ever says, I did it and I don't feel like I got anything out of it, we would happily refund your money. 100%. We don't want your money if you don't feel it was the best, it was worth 10 times what if you don't think it was worth 10 times what you paid for it, we'll give you your money back. Okay? All right. Does that help?
That does help because
All right.
I think they all sound amazing. They all
Yeah,
have been of interest to me. So
look, the horror class is, of course, more on Tanana Reeves' shoulders. The Afrofuturism class is more on my shoulders. But no matter what we're doing always is we're bringing you into the space of the creativity we share between us. In a lot of ways, what we do in those workshops is nothing more than sharing our kitchen conversation with you. This is just the way we are. This is just how we talk. This is why we looked at each other and said, "Oh my God, you exist? I could actually have a buddy like you that, to talk to this stuff about." So we're bringing you into that. So we would love to have you in both. And a portion of everything we get there goes, right back to the community. Our Christmas giveaway is just giving money to anybody who says, we're broke, we're sleeping in our car, I don't have money for Christmas presents. This is why we feel totally cool with the plan to get rich. We feel we're already rich by any reasonable definitions, but because just being in America and being Black and doing what it is that we do, that's wealth. But we have higher standards in mind. We want to help you. The only way for us to get where we want to go is by helping you go where you want to go. Okay? So jump in there. I guess that's all for today, really. I need to get to work and get into my weekend and, supervise my son on his stuff. So let's everybody unmute yourselves. Let me remove spotlight. Let me remove spotlight. Everybody unmute yourselves and just say hi and just goodbye and just have a
Bye.
fantastic
Hello.
weekend.
Hi,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Goodbye.
Have a
Join
good
our
weekend,
mailing
everybody.
list.
Have a great weekend.
Join our mailing list at StephenBarnesList.com or TananariveDoList.com. And so that we can communicate with you about these lessons. And I'd like to close this today, as I always do, with the Sanskrit expression that says that the divinity within me salutes and acknowledges the divinity within each and every one of you. Namaste. Take care. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye, people.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.